Good morning, Ms. Winnie. As part of Indonesia's commitment to the Paris Agreement and our national determined contribution, target to cut emissions by up to 43.2% by 2030, the government is aggressively tackling urban transport emissions. Given that domestic environmental NGOs are heavily protesting Jakarta's air quality, the ministry is finalizing strict carbon caps on commercial transport fleets. We are calling on major digital platforms to accelerate their electrification. Gojek has publicly stated its three zeros by 2030 target. However, our regulatory audit shows that less than 1% of your active fleet is currently electrified. How does Gojek plan to bridge this gap immediately?
Okay, so good morning, Director General Naomi. So, as a proud Indonesian tech champion under the Goto Group, Gojek remains firmly committed to our zero emissions by 2030 roadmap. So, however, forcing an immediate and assisted transitions to our 2.7 million driver partners across to Southeast Asia, it presents a massive operational bottleneck. So, according to our corporate financial models and pilot project data, the upfront cost of an electric two-wheeler is roughly like 30% higher than a conventional no internal combustion engine bike. So, if the state enforced abrupt emissions penalties on ride-hailing platforms without supporting the gig economy, it will directly harm driver livelihoods and disrupt our market capitalizations on the Indonesian stock exchange.
So we recognize Gojek's vital role in the national digital economy, but corporate public relation campaigns about sustainability goals are no longer enough to satisfy environmental advocates or public health demands. So the ministry carbon accounting standards are non-negotiable. However, effective business diplomacy aims to find a actionable structural compromise. What concrete corporate strategy can Gojek deploy right now if the government acts as a fiscal enabler?
Okay, so to prove our commitment, Gojek has already established a robust joint venture called the Electrum to manufacture localized electric motorbikes. So our technical experts have mapped out a scalable ecosystem, so a mass rollout of these EVs paired with a nationwide battery swapping station. So the network to eliminate the charging down time for our drivers. But here is the diplomatic and the economic bottleneck. So scaling Electrum to supply hundreds of thousands of bikes requires astronomical capital expenditure. So furthermore, we face heavy regulatory red tape regarding land zoning for swapping hubs and high import tariff on advanced lithium-ion cell components. So if the government can grant Gojek a multi-year tax holiday for our green infrastructure investments and eliminate import tariff on EV battery cells, we can de-risk this transition for our board and shareholders.
There is highly sophisticated data-driven proportion. The government is prepared to streamline the zoning permits for your electrum swapping hubs and coordinates with the Ministry of Finance to offer targeted fiscal incentive for domestic EV manufacturing. However, in return for this structural state support, we demand full policy transparency. Gojek must integrate a dedicated open data API, allowing government regulators and independent NGOs to track your real-time fleet conversion rates and verified carbon reduction metrics.
Okay, so we accept those terms. Transparency builds consumer loyalty and satisfies our environmental, social, and governance, which is the ESG investor criteria. So, with this critical fiscal guarantees and infrastructures shortcuts secured by the state, I can confidently confirm that Gojek will formally commit to a milestone target, which is the transforming the 40% of our active two-wheeler fleet and in major metropolitan areas to electric vehicles by 2028, keeping us firmly on track for our 100% target by 2030.
That is excellent. This marks a significant breakthrough for our business diplomacy session. Let us officially summarize the agreed upon solution for our final submission. So the first one, the government will fast track special planning permits for Gojek's Electrum, battery swapping network, and grant import tariff reliefs on critical EV battery cell components. And then the second one, the corporation Gojek legally bans its corporate strategy to accelerate 40% localized EV fleet transition by 2028 under the Three Zeros framework. And then the last one, joint transparency, a shared digital dashboard will be launched, giving ministry official and civil society oversight of audited corporate emission data to ensure compliance and public trust. So thank you very much for the incredibly productive negotiation. This proof that corporate growth and state level green diplomacy can successfully move hand in hand.
Okay, thank you so much, Director General Naomi. So, Gojek looks forward to driving Indonesia's green transport revolutions together. So, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miss Winnie.
Thank you. Bye.